The night my own mother looked me in the eye and said, "You're imagining things." Something inside me went quiet, and not in a peaceful way. It was the kind of quiet that settles in your chest when you realize you might be alone with your thoughts forever. The kind that makes you wonder if the walls have ears, if the mirrors are lying, if the ache in your stomach is just anxiety or a warning you're refusing to hear. I remember the sound of the clock on her kitchen wall that night.
Tick, tick, tick.
Each second felt louder than the last, as if time itself was leaning in to listen while my sanity was put on trial. My mother sat across from me at the small round table, her hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't sipped from once. Chamomile, I think. She always drank chamomile when she wanted to sound gentle while saying something sharp. "You've always had an active imagination," she said softly, like she was reminding a child about an old bedtime habit. "Ever since you were little." I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. My tongue felt thick, heavy. The words I had practiced all the way there, every detail, every moment, every strange look and half-finished sentence, crumbled before they reached my lips. Across town, my husband was probably asleep already, or pretending to be. At that moment, I didn't know which was worse, the fear that something was terribly wrong, or the fear that my own mother was right. Before all of this, my life was quiet in a way I used to be proud of. I had been married to Daniel for 12 years. 12 ordinary, stitched-together years of routines and rituals that felt solid enough to lean on. We lived in a modest two-story house with beige siding and a creaky third stair that always groaned under your foot if you forgot to step lightly. I never fixed it. I told myself it gave the house character. Mornings started early. Daniel liked his coffee strong and bitter, the kind that left a sharp smell hanging in the kitchen long after he'd gone. I preferred tea, milk, one sugar, stirred slowly. Our mugs sat side by side in the cabinet, his chipped at the handle, mine faded from too many trips through the dishwasher. We didn't have children. That was a story for another day, one filled with silences and doctors' offices and conversations that ended with both of us staring at the ceiling. But we had learned how to live around that ache. Or so I thought. I worked part-time at a local library, shelving books and helping elderly patrons with the copy machine. Daniel worked in logistics for a regional supplier, nothing flashy but steady. He wore the same navy jackets, the same sensible shoes. Predictable, reliable, safe. My mother lived 15 minutes away in the house I grew up in. Same floral curtains. Same faint smell of lemon cleaner and old paper. She called every Sunday evening, without fail. "How are you, sweetheart?" she'd ask. "Fine, Mom," I'd answer. And for a long time, that had been true. We weren't a dramatic family. No shouting matches, no slammed doors.
My mother prided herself on that.
"We're calm people," she liked to say. "We talk things through." Looking back, I realize how often calm was used to smooth over discomfort. How quickly feelings were folded away, like tablecloths brought out only for special occasions. The first thing that changed was Daniel's phone. It wasn't anything obvious.
No lipstick marks.
No late-night disappearances. Just small things that made my stomach tighten for reasons I couldn't explain. He started keeping his phone face down on the counter. Always face down. When it buzzed, he'd glance at it quickly before turning it back over, his thumb hovering like he was deciding whether to touch something hot. One evening, while I was rinsing dishes, I asked casually, "Who keeps texting you so late?" He didn't look up. "Work," he said. Too fast. I dried my hands on a towel and watched his reflection in the microwave door. His jaw tightened just slightly before he smiled and added, "You know how it is." I told myself I did know how it was. Logistics. Deadlines. Emergencies. Men who carried stress in their shoulders and silence in their pockets. Still, I noticed things. The way he stepped outside to take calls he used to answer at the kitchen table. The way his laughter sounded thinner when he said goodnight. The way he flinched once when I picked up his phone to move it off the couch cushion. "I was just going to sit there," he said, reaching for it quickly. "Sorry," I replied, even though I wasn't sure why I was apologizing. At night, lying beside him, I listened to the rhythm of his breathing. Some nights it came easy, deep and even. Other nights it stayed shallow, restless, like he was half awake somewhere else. I didn't jump to conclusions. That wasn't my nature. I had been raised to look inward first, to ask what I might be misunderstanding. So, I did what I'd always done when I felt uncertain. I went to my mother. We sat in her living room that afternoon, sunlight slanting through the curtains and catching dust in the air. I told her everything, slowly, carefully, like I was laying fragile pieces on the table.
The phone.
The calls. The distance. She listened without interrupting, nodding in all the right places. When I finished, she sighed and reached for my hand. "Honey," she said gently, "marriages go through phases. You're overthinking this." I pulled my hand back just a little. "It feels different." She smiled, the way she did when she thought she was being wise. "You've always been sensitive. That's not a bad thing. But it can make you see problems where there aren't any." Sensitive. The word landed heavier than she intended. When I left her house that day, I sat in my car for a long time before starting the engine. I watched the front door, half expecting her to come out and call me back. To say she'd thought about it more. To say she believed me. She didn't. That night, Daniel kissed my forehead and asked what I wanted for dinner tomorrow, like nothing in the world was wrong. And for the first time in my life, I wondered if trusting the people closest to me was slowly teaching me how to doubt myself.